The BYD Seagull once again broke the defense of the Americans. This time it's the Associated Press. Just like Japanese people, the Associated Press also secretly bought a BYD Seagull from China and shipped it to the United States. Going to the factory is a meal of dismantling. I was originally looking for the weakness of China's so-called government subsidies for new energy vehicles. And then I'll mess with you in China. After dismantling a series of 13 moves, it broke through the defense. They not only found that BYD Seagulls have excellent performance, but also safe and reliable, leading technology. They also have to admit at the same time, if BYD Seagull were to enter the US market, so it will be a nightmare for politicians and American car companies. If you don't believe it, just look at this title. The cheap Seagull electric car has made all American car manufacturers and politicians tremble. There is another interesting thing mentioned in this video. It means that this Seagull has been operating in the factory since it arrived in the United States. I have never been on the road before, because it is illegal. He also emphasized it specifically. But in conclusion, what is it? Can we create such a cheap electric car? It really shocked them. So now the United States urgently needs a safe, excellent performance, a reliable electric vehicle, but they really don't have this thing in all their products. You can tell by the expression on this foreigner's face. Previously, Musk said that if it was a fair trade, all car companies around the world, I can't beat Chinese car companies. Actually, what he is talking about is BYD. This foreigner must not have believed it at that time. Now take a look at this expression. It's obvious that although I'm puzzled, but I was greatly shocked. What's more interesting is actually in the comments section. Not only did the Associated Press break the defense, American netizens have also broken the defense, even began to suspect the United States. Freedom and democracy have emerged. That's what the person who likes the most said. Obviously, a free market economy means imposing 100% tariffs on the products of competitors, because it's really too cheap. The next response is yes, if no tariffs are imposed, I definitely bought it. The second highest liked person said, okay. Automakers can always stop focusing on SUVs that are quite tired. I really hope BYD can find a way to bring cars to North America. If BYD comes, will anyone really feel sad for General Motors or Ford? Not available. After reading this message, your emotions, the American people hope that, after a long drought, I look forward to it like rain. Ford and General Motors are lying down with guns. No one really cares about your life or death. The third-ranked netizen said that, if the cost is cheap enough, compared to the garbage in the United States, even with a 100% tariff, this car is also worth it. Good guy. After you finish speaking, I estimate that Americans, someone will definitely shout an additional 200% tariff. Some other netizens are really talking about needle to wheat. You see, that's what this netizen said. For members of the US Congress, the so-called free market means banning cars without government shares. In other words, there is no such pie transaction. Who guarantees it? Who you? Look at it. There's nothing. The American people have already seen the so-called free market very clearly. There are still people here bragging, and this American netizen sent out soul questioning. He said that the power of competitive markets is what drives American car manufacturers forward. In other words, old America, you have fallen. Another netizen said that American car manufacturers, that's just a joke. I hope they will go bankrupt due to their greed and lack of foresight. I estimate that this day, it's not too far either, a politician really called for the cancellation of 100% tariffs. Enable all American citizens to drive affordable Chinese-made electric cars. What do you think his vote will be like? That famous scene will really appear then. The United States opposes the United States. Another American netizen. I really understand what I said. Why must TikTok be banned by Americans? He said, surprisingly, how did the automotive industry in the United States and Europe convince millions of people? Is it qualified to spend $50,000 to purchase a basic car? In other words, the cheapest car costs 5,000. This is a normal phenomenon. In China, oh my goodness, you can buy it for 50,000 RMB. This is simply amazing. Oh my, old America, listen to the voices of your people. I don't care about the dignity of a great country. I want to see the dignity of the common people. This time Zuanbia, I'm almost in a daze. Although cars, it cannot replace a house, but that's what this netizen said. I am willing to buy a car. The prices of American cars and houses 20 years ago. This is simply ridiculous. I can't do it anymore. After reading these messages, I need to quickly translate 2 more books of Yilin, or perhaps reader is panting for breath. That's not how it was supposed to be written. How did China suddenly become the protagonist of Yilin and reader? A small BYD Seagull. Suddenly, let the American people who are watching this news. Collective defense breaking, from political conspiracy to commercial conspiracy, plus free markets and free speech. Can you just say that this matter is a boomerang for a large-scale serial car accident? Of course, the cheap BYD Seagull is just one side. Looking up at the high-end U8 in the US market would shatter their values. Anyway, this kind of news, I think there will be more in the future. Let's wait and see. I don't know what you have to say. Welcome to leave a comment in the comment section. Let's discuss together. The person who invented BYD insurance. He is truly a genius. On May 9th last year, BYD has fully acquired 100% of the shares of Yan Property and Casualty Insurance. We have officially obtained the license for property insurance. After a year, the BYD app suddenly launched the business segment of BYD Insurance, although it has not yet been officially launched for use. But this day must be coming soon. This is definitely a super big event that can overturn the automotive industry. Let me briefly outline the logic behind it for everyone. First of all, for the user end, everyone encountered the same problem when buying tram insurance. Buying from a large company, it can range from 6 or 7,000 to 8 or 9,000. Very expensive. Buying from a small company, it will definitely be a bit cheaper. But we are also very worried that we may argue when there are problems. I can't speak clearly. Those who have this concern can deduct one in the barrage. Now, officially launching an insurance it solved this difficult problem. Moreover, the price of official insurance will definitely be lower than that of third-party insurance, and it's much lower. Apart from the issue of price, another thing that has been criticized is its unfairness. Many people feel that their driving skills are very good. Why share this risk with some novices or people with average driving behavior? What about paying an additional premium? Because in the past, this is very difficult to quantify. But now, it's not difficult anymore. You can open BYD's app. You will find that the driving behavior scores of each car owner will be recorded in detail here. BYD is likely to provide you with an evaluation of customized maintenance prices based on this in the future. To put it simply, the more civilized you drive, the fees you need to pay will be even lower. Someone must have asked, why is BYD's insurance cheaper? Is it for charity? Of course not. You're also quite right. However, we need to clarify 2 underlying logics. The first one is, BYD has its own millions of users every year, and insurance is not a one-time deal. It is an uninterrupted operation. What about traditional insurance companies? I almost broke my head in the car insurance rush. You need a large consumer base and operational experience, and on BYD's side, you don't even need to sell. This saves a huge amount of labor costs. Meanwhile, the lower the insurance cost of BYD, the more. This also indicates that this company has better control over its products and maintenance costs. More confident. Why is the insurance for batteries expensive? It simply involves emerging industries and the high maintenance costs of core components such as batteries. So BYD itself does this. The more confident you are, the lower the price. The lower the price, the more it attracts consumers, especially for potential users in the range of 100,000 to 200,000. Saving a few thousand yuan may not be a big deal. Perhaps it's not enough for them to buy BYD. However, let them feel the strong confidence of the enterprise. This is very important. This cannot be measured with money. For BYD Group, this is also a matter of making a fortune. This year, BYD's new energy users will exceed 10 million afterwards. The annual increase will also exceed 4 million. Roughly calculate the replacement of old users and the increment of new users. This revenue will reach a level of tens or even hundreds of billions annually. This has surpassed the vast majority of listed companies on the market. Even theoretically, it has the ability to be listed separately. This also means that BYD's insurance can definitely make money, profitable, so this also leads to a more important point. The pricing space for models after BYD will be more flexible. Let me give another example. One thing that new energy vehicle companies nowadays particularly enjoy doing is giving away insurance. In fact, it is a disguised way of lowering prices. But you think, you give third-party insurance as a gift and you give your own insurance as a gift. Who has lower costs? Obviously, it is the latter. Especially for dolphins, seagulls, for models like 798 and so on, you give away insurance, which is equivalent to reducing the car price by 5% to 10%. Let's take a brief look at the overall logic. What about BYD's insurance? Created substantial revenue and profits for the group company first. Is it a listed company? Making money brings happiness to many shareholders. Meanwhile, for car owners and users, enjoying lower-priced insurance, and it is a very reliable official insurance, and it is also very likely that it is an exclusive version customized according to your personal preferences. What about individual prices? It may be outrageously low. There will be more people who want better scores for a lower price, so as to enhance one's level of driving civilization. This is also helpful for our overall social driving safety, and with this insurance system in place, spread the household registration monument. It is highly likely to continue stimulating consumers to purchase BYD. Does this create a very perfect closed loop? I have to say, Wang Xuanfu is really a genius. According to Bloomberg, before facing more restrictive measures, Chinese car companies such as BYD or decide to abandon the US market. Instead, focus on the Latin American market. BYD's executive vice president Li Qi made it clear in an interview that we currently do not intend to enter the US market, despite the attractiveness of this market. But its complexity cannot be ignored. BYD actually doesn't want to enter the United States. But the United States does not allow it to enter. Chinese car exports to the United States have a 25% penalty tariff and a 2.5% tariff. The comprehensive tax rate is 27.5, plus customs duties and shipping costs. Domestic cars are sold in the United States. It is much more expensive than other markets. But even so, there is still a price advantage. Therefore, this is not the key. The key is, the U.S. access policy directly excludes Chinese cars. Biden will strictly review China's imports of new energy vehicles. Even the import of components needs to be reviewed. I can't even get in if I want to. The United States also planned to develop new energy vehicles earlier. But because the domestic power of gasoline vehicles in the United States is very large, China's new energy has developed too fast again, causing concern in the United States. The trade protection in the United States also tends to protect these car companies. Ford dominates the U.S. market, Universal, Toyota, Modern, Honda, these traditional car companies. If BYD, which has advantages throughout the entire industry chain, is brought in, what will happen? They dare not imagine. Before Yellen came to Guangzhou, criticizing China's overcapacity in Georgia, it means China's new energy, electric vehicles. Energy storage batteries are sold too cheaply in international trade, compressing the survival space of American enterprises. But in fact, Americans do not allow Chinese car companies to enter. In fact, it actually deprives oneself of the opportunity to establish an industrial chain for the United States. If we want to truly protect its own automotive industry, it doesn't really matter who the car is sold to. The important thing is where to build the factory. Not being able to grab a major manufacturer of new energy vehicles is crucial for the United States.